Some fans say that when Peter Lawwell enters back into the building, ambition walks back out the building. The fact is that Celtic are currently sitting with £72.3 million in the bank. And on Monday, they released the full documented accounts that are audited, unlike some clubs in Scotland who don't audit their accounts or don't even release the true value of their accounts. Anyway, Celtic have its 40-page document, and I will put the link to the document in the link under the description of this video. Now, Peter Lawwell, in his opening statement, talks about a few things. He talks about the results, talks about revenue increased to £119.9 million, up from £88.2 million. And then he talks about a 31.7 increase in revenue, and all due to the Champions League. He talks about a lot of other things, and one of the things that he does talk about is the fact that in terms of funding, the liquidity, our year cash end net of bank borrowings was £72.3 million. In 2022, it was only £30 million in the bank. This increase this year was principally due to the translation into cash of strong trading environment, typically non-recurring items mentioned previously. The reserves were used to fund the summer 2023 transfer window. It will be used for settling outstanding sums from transfers over the last two seasons, which are typically paid in instalments, and I'm going to talk about that in a minute. I will show you some of the numbers. The sum also contains the cash required to fund significant investment that the club is planning to make in the development of our Barrowfield training facility. It is important to highlight, even given the increased gap between sums available and sums earned in the Champions League and the Europa. It is vital that we retain a cash buffer. In other words, spending's over. Spending's done. We are done. It was interesting to see how much money we actually made from Jota. When we look at it, he does go on to say, our successfully proven strategy has delivered stability and footballing success over many years and remains the same. We must balance the signing of players that can be developed and then sold when the conditions are optimal, alongside the need to sign players who are able to make an immediate impact and delivering football success. The execution of the strategy has been increasingly challenging onto the wage and transfer inflation, but the formula has underpinned both footballing success and financial stability over a number of years, and now that is what we need to adhere to. Now, one thing that was in the accounts was the fact that Celtic may have to pay out another £7.1 million in add-ons for players that have came into the club. That's obviously things like if they win the league and if they play so many games. Celtic have also got money coming in, which was rather interesting, and that's obviously money in the likes of instalments and money for the likes of Frimpong that could come in, Ayer, Tierney, Juranovic, Guacamakis, just to name a few. But Celtic have got money that have came in from the likes of the Ryan Christie deal. The Ryan Christie deal was structured in such a way that Celtic would receive a bonus if they got promoted, and they would also receive another bonus if they avoided relegation, which they have done. These transfer fees always grab the headlines. The big transfer fees, I know the £25 million for Jota, but it's the add-ons that are in the background of the way that Celtic have been structuring things over the last couple of seasons, which has kind of been a bit impressive for me. Then on page 5, they decided to talk about the Youth Academy. The Youth Academy continues to get investment in order to develop the talent that can progress to become first-team regulars and provide on-field success, as well as potentially creating value for future transfers. The Celtic B team competed in the Scottish Lowland League for the second consecutive season, finishing third in line with the prior year. The environment of the full season of competitive matches provides the necessary experience and development and pathway. What pathway? There's no players came through from the development team. The impact of academy graduates, it went on to say, again with notable during the success of the past season, with first team captain Callum McGregor, James Forrest, Tony Ralston, Stephen Welsh, all making significant contributions. There are also first team debutants for the season for Ben Summers and Rocco Vata. We all know my thoughts on that. I mean, if they're good enough, get them in the team. It does go on to say that we continue to place some of our younger players on loan in order to assist the development and building their experience of first team football. During the season, Adam Montgomery, Johnny Kenny, and various other players have went out on loan. In the meantime, we bring in a number of 20 and 21-year-old players that we bring straight into the first team, even though they're not first team ready. They're project players. It astounds me sometimes the way that Celtic's run, that we do spend the amount of money that we did. And let's face it, we're spending good money, but we're also making good money only due to the fact that we are in the Champions League. In the document, it does go on to say that history tells us that we will not always qualify for the Champions League. And the benefit of holding on to cash reserves affords us the opportunity of managing through seasons where we participate in the Europa League, with the ability to retain our squad, opposed to selling key players and bridge some of the income shortfall between both competitions. Now, this year we walked right into the Champions League, and that didn't stop them selling Jota for 25 million, and we didn't get all that 25 million, obviously. And then we sold Carl Starfelt, 2 starters, and Aaron Moy also left the building. And we didn't replace them with first team starters, like they said. We brought them in. We brought in some players, and there's only been one really that's walked right into the first team. And let's face it, if any suitable offers come in for any of our first team players this Christmas, you can guarantee that Lawwell will jump at it and sell the players from right under Brendan Rodgers' nose. Now let's talk about match day revenues. Substantial income is deferred from match day ticket sales and the provision of various products and services on match days, including programmes, merchandising, hospitality, catering, donations and Celtic FC Development Fund, particularly in relation to proportion of match day lottery ticket sales, are also important to the club. Significant revenue is also derived from the sale of season tickets. External economic conditions can affect supporters' disposable income, the quality of the team and the management, and the perceived entertainment on offer, a level of success from preceding seasons. The opposition that the club may face might be tougher, with pricing having an effect on purchasing decisions. Many of these factors are beyond the group control. And this is one of the interesting comments on it, and it's one of the ones I love personally because it was one of the reasons that I got out of the UK. Brexit. Brexit is on page 7. It says the UK officially left the EU on the 31st of January 2020, and on the 31st of December 2020 we completed the separation from the EU, with ending the transition period. The group has seen some impact on administration costs, particularly in respect to our membership division. Further risk could be assessed to workers, particularly around casual matchday staff, and the indications are the lack of supply of hospitality and leisure markets. So they're basically saying that they're struggling for staff for hospitality. Now, with it being a club open to all and its directors, let's talk about dividends. Yes, the money that the preferential shareholders on our board, the Tory members, take out the club. Dividends of $500,000 were paid in cash on the 31st of August 2023. In 2022 it was also $500,000. So even though they've only took $500,000 out, but the preference shareholders not participating in the scrip dividend reinvestment scheme. The record to date, the purpose of the share scheme dividend was July 2023. Anyway, the mandate representing over 1 million shares, a dividend scrip investment, approximately £38,000 was given to that. Ordinary shares were under the scheme at the beginning. Right, this is where it gets really interesting, because the directors do not recommend the payment of an ordinary share dividend. So to people like me and you that have normal shares in Celtic, you're getting nada. And that's the way that Celtic's run, and we don't expect to make profit from our shares. It's only the directors and people like that obviously want to get profit for their shares and be rewarded, slapped on the back. Meanwhile, we've got to put up with mediocre players coming into the club and having a playing formula that just, let's face it, lets us struggle when it comes to Europe. Not investing quick enough over the past 10 years, only getting into the Champions League 4 times in the last 10 years, all comes down to the fact that we will not buy players until we have qualified for the Champions League. This year we didn't have to qualify for the Champions League, but we still did not bring in the players required to take us to that next level. And then it goes on to list the name of these people that take money out of the club on an ongoing basis. T. Allison, Ian Bankier, S. Brown, D. Desmond, C. Mackay, Brian Wilson, Michael Nicholson and Peter Lawwell, who all get money on an ongoing basis, and they get their nice little bonus at the end of the year. So go down and find out on page 11 of the document. I've always said it's people like Brian Wilson, who was appointed on June 2005. The former Member of Parliament takes money out the club on an ongoing basis, and if you go down, you can read the report itself in full. My main takeaway from this 42-page document is Celtic board are going to keep the cash, and the statement that says history tells us that we do not always qualify for the Champions League is the need for the benefit for holding cash reserves affords us the opportunity to manage through seasons where we don't participate in the Champions League and we drop down to the Europa League. The ability to retain the squad opposed to selling key players. The irony of that comment, where we know over the years that Celtic are more than of the mindset of selling our best players rather than building from a place of strength. Something that we've managed to completely do with ease since 2003. It's 2003 we all thought we would build from strength then, and we haven't. And pretty much it's the same people that are in charge then. So tell me what you think about that. Go down and click the link in the description. Have a read of the 40-page document. It's quite nice because they have put some nice pictures in if you just like looking at pictures of players. They have got some nice pictures in, but it is over 40 pages long with a lot of information in there, and predominantly this kind of information is put out so that it can be sold as a going concern. Will anyone come in and buy DD shares? If I win the lottery, I might just do that. On that note, have a fantastic day, Celtic fans all around the world.
Roll up to the party, roll up to the party, roll up to